Welcome to Polesworth Abbey and to this tour of the stained glass windows. The commentary takes you on two journeys, one starting at the west end of the abbey and moving towards the east, the other starting the baptistry next to the font and includes the windows on the north side of the aisle. There is also a special Saints Windows tour. All the stained glass that you see in the abbey was installed after the 19th century renovation of the church, which was undertaken by architect George Edmund Street. The renovation was completed in 1869 and some of the glass was already in place, suggesting those are fundamentally part of the renovation and of the 19th century view of the abbey. The abbey was restored in the late 19th century, and among the priests who established the parish again during that time was John George Trotter. This window is a tribute to him, and shows both the original foundation with the nuns and the restored abbey with its new chancel, altar, candles and ritual. From left to right you see King Egbert bequeathing land to St Editha. St Benedict, the monastic order that the nuns would eventually follow. St John, to whom the abbey's 19th century daughter church at Birchmoor is dedicated. St Modwenna, who established the foundation. Below are the nuns in their stalls and giving alms at the abbey gate. The charge to St Peter, "Feed my sheep," and the new chancel with its altar and priest offering the service and giving communion to the people. You see the arms of the Polesworth Nunnery and of the Benedictine order, and from the highest point of the window the Mother of God gazes at the altar, inviting us to turn and see the house raised up for God. See the animals, among them the donkey, Joseph with the light and Mary and the shepherds, and don't miss the star and its rays. Christmas is about God's light coming into the world, and this window invites visitors to remember the centrality of the incarnation. A child is born. God becomes a human being and takes on human flesh. This window is directly opposite the main church doorway, and those rays are the quiet invasion of the creation by the Word made flesh. This is a statement about the abbey as a place of love, enlightenment and worship. This is one of the most attractive of the stained glass windows. With two lights, it has an intricate medieval feeling to it, though it was made and installed in 1902. The subject is from Luke chapter 2. After his birth, Mary and Joseph take the infant to Jerusalem, to the temple where they present Jesus. They make a blood offering, a turtle dove or two young pigeons. Mary and Joseph redeemed with blood the one who will become the sacrifice. And Jesus is taken into the arms of Simeon. He's there on the right-hand side of this intricate picture in glass. This is Candlemas. Simeon announces that Jesus is the light, and that a sword will pierce the heart of his mother Mary, who is there with her husband Joseph on the left side of the window. It was given in memory of Frederick Tibbets and his wife Helena. An unusual and compelling window. Venite adoremus means come and worship, and this is inscribed on one of the most recent of the bells installed in the Abbey Tower. Together the 8 bells call us to worship, adore and sacrifice ourselves. This window shows a family going to church and called by the bells. It's a memorial to a 19th century bell ringer at the Abbey. This window is considerably obscured by the later chancel screen. It's a well-designed and expressive feature of the 19th century chancel. Built by the architect Street, this window was integral with the design of the masonry, organ, choir stalls and, above all, the altar furnishings that surround it. All this is focused on the offering of Christ on the altar and in the New Testament covenant. To view this window is to see the glory of God incarnate. As we lift our eyes, the central panel invites us to dwell on the Nativity, the crucifixion and the figure of Christ made mortal, now made immortal again, to reign in majesty and glory. Above is the dove of the Holy Spirit, and around are the saints, martyrs and holy ones. The adulation expresses the words of the Latin hymn, Te Deum Laudamus. Reading from left to right, the panels depicted are the glorious company of the apostles, the goodly fellowship of the prophets, the noble army of martyrs, and the Holy Church throughout all the world. It seems likely that there were patrons for this window, as there are two real faces, one in the lower far left panel and the other at the same level, one in from the right. It seems likely too that the figures in the far right lower panel are Ananias, Azarias and Misael, who appear not in the Te Deum but in another of the canticles, the Benedictine.